The circle of life, most notably mentioned in The Lion King, represents how all living beings depend on each other for survival. For example, grass is eaten by cows, cows are eaten by humans, and upon their death, humans provide nourishment for grass. However, as people exploit the earth and its natural resources, the circle of life shatters. Climate change advances. Beasts of the Southern Wild and Princess Mononoke portray the consequences of global warming in their depictions of mass flooding and forest devastation. In both films, the destruction of animals and nature portend the physical wounds of humans. This parallel conveys how all life is interconnected, as environmental disaster prompts human suffering in cataclysmic events or in festering injuries. In Beasts of the Southern Wild, the deadly progression of Wink's wounds parallels the slow destruction of the planet. Early in the film, Wink's acute seizure reveals the severity of his disease, juxtaposed against the first images of melting ice and collapsing glaciers. By matching the progression of Wink's wounds with environmental catastrophe, Hush Puppy links personal loss with the temporal scale of climate change. After a hurricane devastates the bathtub, Hush Puppy sees the second physical symptom of Wink's disease, a corroded spiderweb of black bruises and veins covering his heart. As the flood further damages nature, the wound on Wink's chest grows more severe, spreading to his ribs. Both the depictions of animal carcasses and black veins morbidly shock Hush Puppy, foreboding the death of animal and human alike. Hush Puppy, like Wink, is critical of technology.
When an animal gets sick here, they plug it into the wall.
She understands his decision to accept the disease and refuse medical treatment.
Daddy used to say, if he ever got so old he couldn't drink beer and catch catfish, then I had to put him in a boat and set him on fire, so no one could come plug him into the wall.
Wink and Hush Puppy represent the first and most vulnerable victims of climate change, the impoverished who depend on the land, not industrialization, for survival. In contrast to the slow progression of lethal disease in Beasts of the Southern Wild, Princess Mononoke depicts wounds that instantly result from an intense, ongoing war between humans and forest creatures. The injuries, typical of direct combat, are grisly, gory, fast-paced, and excessive for shock effect. The animation even dramatizes aggressive injuries as bloody tentacles, wounds that spread and consume the body like cancer. During the ultimate battle, when Okoto's hatred for humans culminates, his war wounds sprout coiling snakes. The blood's deep red color provokes visceral alarm and revulsion. Such invasive and intrusive wounds personified the deep-rooted hostility between humans and animals. The tentacles grabbing and engulfing San conveys how the destruction of nature escalates and threatens human health. In the final scenes, Lady Eboshi fires her gun and shoots off the forest god's head. His decapitated body oozes black blood that kills everything it touches. With the power over life and death, the ooze demolishes Lady Eboshi's soldiers and Irontown and its people. In a war between humans and nature, the whole world loses. Ultimately, the wounds of humans and living creatures pose a resounding question: how will the planet ever recover? In the final scenes, Hush Puppy leads the citizens of the bathtub forward, and San watches nature regrow as she leads the wolf pack. The endings of both these films convey hope that the environmental sins of the older generation can be healed by the tough children of the future.